Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. It is official. I'm running for the mayor of Abbotsford. And I'm running to bring the best in to Abbotsford, the RCMP. And we're going to go after the insider trading and the corruption ring that laid in Abbotsford, hosing your taxpayers' dollars, and establishments that controlled the local offices from the MLA to the MP. An attempted murder in broad daylight was covered up to protect Henry Braun and Mike Sir, or it would pull all their business plans and what they were doing behind the scenes. Henry's own son, the economic development officer, opened the door. With my experience from big developers, I knew it was insider trading. And I knew by him taking counsel to his house, he was winning the decisions over the general public. And he was telling them, you guys vote all yes, and I'll vote no, and it'll look like the mayor voted no. Henry was really against it. I'm at Archway Community Services. One of the first things that I'll put under criminal investigations for taking the farmers' money and giving their CEOs a raise. Archway's tied to Vitalis. And ain't it a coincidence that Archway gave Vitalis this big award that it's the best in businesses? Vitalis is the one that went and bought Dave Sidhu's property, the city councils, on insider trading. Amric Moran sat here on the board with Patricia Driesen, the city council. Today I want to talk to you about Driesen. Driesen's running for city council. I'm asking Suki Dami to run to help his South Asians for council. I'm asking Gurpreet Rai. I'm asking Barty Sandhu and many other people in Abbotsford that had enough of these guys loading their pockets. But understand this, we gotta open investigations with the RCMP. Now they're gonna fight to hold on. They're gonna cheat with using you. I showed you how they use the Abbotsford task force. They're gonna threaten you with the task force, so you gotta be ready. They're gonna come and sit at your house 24 hours a day with the task force, thanks to the RCMP, so you gotta be ready. You gotta know how to handle that. Make sure you video film it and lock it all in, because they're on taxpayers' dollars and they're headhunting you. They need to load Ross Siemens, and they need to get this city again. And you'll see Brad Viss will start endorsing them, and he'll start coming over here. So what are I doing here? Driesen said she calls everybody out, but she knew they took the money and gave their CEOs a big extensive lift. She knows Archway Rob Santiago awarded Vitalis this award, and Vitalis bought Dave Sidhu's property on insider trading, and with Ross filing it to the ALC to shut Dave Sidhu's mouth up. It's insider trading, and he gave it a significant lift. It's just a little ring, a vicious little ring, and they're pulling each other apart and they're fighting. How you can see that is if you see all the big elite establishment have been throwing a party only for Amric Moran. And Amric Moran had a massive party with his buddy from the city council, Mark Workington, of conflict of interest, Simon Gibson, Mike DeYoung, Jerry Palmer. I believe, in my opinion, the establishment approached Amric Moran and got him in there, and Amric doesn't know how to say no. But it's wrong in the democratic process, in the democracy, and it's wrong for Abbotsford voters to see that this man is being loaded and he can't make a decision, because here's what's going to happen. Ross was at the party. Henry and them are going to phone him and say, Amric, remember, we got you on, we helped you, we got you all the endorsements, we need you to vote my way. And this is what happens. This is why Mark Sir covered Henry's hit and run. This is why Mike DeYoung covered it, and Ed Fast covered it. They figured they had all the doors blocked. Telemission RCMP got involved. Patricia Driesen was here, and she had a company called Perfect Sense, and she was contracting to Archway, and she was double dipping. This is why she couldn't call Archway out. Pierre Poilievre said one good word as official opposition. He said this, and I want to quote it. When we went to him about Ed Fast, the M&Ms, the mid-Mennonite mob of Abbotsford, didn't surprise me what Ed was doing. And you can see how now you'll see Brad Viss will be forced to take a picture with Ross Siemens to endorse him. They need Ross. It's all about the jobs now, and you can see it. So here's what I want to show you. This is Driesen, Patricia Driesen. And she went and created a slate called The Voice. And she took Carmen Ed Fast's daughter. So let me explain something to Driesen, and I want her to hear it. When Rianne Gasper ran for city council, and she was witness there with Barty Sandu, when Sandy Blue and Abbotsford First Ross Siemens said I grabbed her up the dress to get me charged with sex allegations so they could load Ross Siemens. That has to be answered for. And the Abbotsford police weren't going to talk to the witnesses and charge Sandy Blue, so they hired her on the police board. This is what they were doing. This would be in the influence of Henry Brown. Henry Brown loaded that board, and he put his brother Erwin Brown on the board. He put Mark Warkentine on the board, and now Amric Moran, and they're going to roll him over for council. When Abbotsford homeowners went to Ed Fast blocked them to cover for Henry Brown. Ed's wife said, Ed will do anything for Henry. Risk his career, risk everything. And you could see how the federal Conservatives are shunning him. Carney said it the best. Trace the money, you find the organized crime. So chase the job sites that they're lobbying. You trace Vitalis, you trace Ron Funka Diverse, and you just go around town now and you start tracing the job sites, and you can see this is why. You trace UFV to 500 million. And why? Because we blocked Henry Brown by showing Trudeau he was after that flood money in the infrastructure, not for the farmers, but for him, and to enrichinate him and his buddies with the gravel. Then we showed them how they took the money from Barrowtown and blocked them. And the 71 million missing. But Carmen Fast wants to run with Patricia Driesen, putting her name beside this lady that did this. Putting her name beside the lady that's on the city council that knew Dave Seduce Properties insider trading. This is how bold they are. They believe by getting elected we can't get charged. This is how greedy they are. They don't even have any shame. If that was an ordinary individual, they'd probably run like Brenda Falk did when Brenda Falk messed up. She left Abbotsford. She was so embarrassed with her stunt. But these people are driven by the money and the greed and the constant power. And now they'll have to be blocking candidates and threatening candidates. But Ed Fast's daughter's running. So let me clarify something. When Rianne Gasper ran here in Abbotsford for council, she went to Ed Fast. Ed Fast, quote, said women should not be in politics, and he wasn't going to help her or endorse her. Abbotsford felt very sorry for her, especially she was a South Asian, and went behind her and beat up Pamela Alexis because Pam was pulling favors with Henry through the ag as ag minister, and wiped her out, the voters did, and showed everything Pam was doing, and put Rianne Gasper in. And what a wonderful MLA she is for Mission in Abbotsford. What a wonderful MLA. But Rianne Gasper went to Ed, and Ed said that. Now, I wonder if Ed Fast is going to say that to Carmen. Now, we got another state. Sukhman Gill ran for the federal Conservatives. And Ed Fast was blocking him. Pierre Poilievre said that Ed was trying to load Mike Dion. There was such a trustworthy problem there that Ed would then, when Mike got in, Mike would cross the Liberals and say, listen, I'll give you a mandate if you give me that flood money for Henry. Abbotsford worked hard, and they showed all the stuff Mike was doing with the Chamber of Commerce, all the business names, his financial agent, his signs illegal, and everything. And Vicky Hopes wasn't writing any stories because Henry said, you write one thing, Vicky, if you don't promote Ross and them, I'll put you on your belly. You got nothing. You're barely surviving that rag of that newspaper. Now, here's the problem. Carmen Fast knew what Ed Fast did to Sukhman Gill. So I want to ask Carmen as the mayor candidate, because I want to make sure my South Asians understand that I'm the mayor for all of them. The South Asians, the Dutch, and the Mennonites. Was it really about you being a liberal because Mike de Jong was a liberal, or was it about Sukhman Gill being a South Asian? And that you need to answer to all the South Asians and all the voters. And you need to clarify that very thing. Then you need to clarify that your dad was wrong doing that to Rianne Gasper and saying that she shouldn't. Or was that basically about women not should be in politics, or because Rianne Gasper was a South Asian too? So we're going to have to come to them things, and we're going to open them up. Now that puts a pickle again on who? Patricia Driesen. So I'm asking Abbotsford residents, we're going to put a stop to it because they're after the jobs and the insider trading. And who's running the organization is the Abbotsford Police. You don't look away from an attempted murder. You don't put police officers trying to frame. You're paying them off. You don't cover up reports from witnesses. You don't send the Abbotsford Police out threatening and making accusations and trying to frame somebody. You just don't do it. It opens the door and hurt comes down on you, and everything you were stealing now gets flushed in the top. And the big boys come in, the big law, and they see. So I want to give you my last thing here, is Carney said it the best. Follow the money and you'll find the organized crime. Carney knew that Henry was after this money and this flood money. He knew Brad Viss ain't a leader. He's told. He's not like Suk Mangel. Suk Mangel leads. He took the bull by the horns. He's out there and everything. I don't know how Patricia Driesen, Karma Fast, is going to go ask Suk Mangel's South Asians to help her. Should never be done, and Suk Mangel should now make sure he stays away from it. But maybe Brad Viss will phone over and say he needs to pressure it. Brad Viss, I've warned him, and I'll warn him again, you need to go back in mission, and you need to stay in mission and quit doing it. But Brad can't. Brad can't take the bull by the horns. He was never a leader. He was Ed's secretary, and he was always told what to do. Abbotsford needs the RCMP. Abbotsford needs it on the corruption ring of Rob Funk. It needs it on the Cooper's Farm developers. I can tell you, developers are not allowed to put the mayor and candidate signs on the farm over 3,000 people because that's how the decision was won up at Henry's Farm. Dave Sadhu's property, Barrowtown Waterworks, Archway Community Services, Rob Santiago, and now Vitalis. These are the things that I'm going to bring fronting center to Abbotsford voters, to the law, and above all, to make sure the RCMP see. Vicky Hopes is not going to block none of it. Dave Sadhu's not going to block none of it. Controlling the narrative ain't the way to do it. Social media is out there, and Abbotsford is working hard with me. They're going to create a flyer to Abbotsford, to all the farmers and everywhere, and they're going to show you detail to detail. So that way when it's in the court, the jury and the judge can say Dave Sadhu did insider trading. He's got to give all that money back. It's insider trading and all the profit like Polygon made off of Cooper's Farm. Henry Brown has to go full out. He has to go full out. He'll increase the Abbotsford police that are his friends to start threatening, start framing and everything. And this is why we have to remove the Abbotsford police. They got involved in this when they threatened Mogel with the task force. And they wouldn't stop it because they were Henry's friends. And nobody should ever look away from attempted murder. So, to Carmen Fast, I would remove yourself from Patricia Driesen. She's going to drag you down, but I would ask your dad, what are them three things? Was it against the South Asians? Was it against being a woman in politics? Or was it against Rianne because you wanted one of your friends in and the community wanted somebody else that they could trust? Them are the questions, Carmen, and you need to answer them because when you get in them debates, them other people that are running are going to bury you. And the Big Ed's name, Big Ed, old Ed's name ain't going to save you. Ed is completely washed up. He's got no more juice. He couldn't get Mike DeYoung in. He ran out of juice. When the Conservatives saw what he was doing, they pulled from him. I'm live. Archway Community Services, Abbotsford.